So I've been thinking about a lot of concepts. I'm also just trying to sit down and feel things and stop just trying to understand it, because I feel like that has always been my natural way of operating. I've always just felt things, but I felt ashamed. I felt like the way I felt things was wrong, so I tried to understand it. I tried to understand my own mind. I grew up being told that my sensitivity was this weakness, so I would always change myself to be someone that I'm not. And what I'm realizing is that sensitivity, right? That sensitivity is really a beautiful thing. With having sensitivity, you don't really have this self because you are adapting to all these different people's emotions. As I've gone along my journey, I feel like my backbone and my ego has become almost louder. I believe that you can go through an ego death, and then after that ego death, you can become more vulgar, or that's just one way that ego can be integrated. I was kind of looking at myself recently. I was thinking, oh my God, when you first went through that traumatic ego death, part of myself probably would have felt like, oh my God, we went through all of this for nothing. We went through all of this destruction to break you down to your soul. So like, why is that ego there? Then I thought, no, that's not ego in the wrong way. I feel like when you are trying to integrate the ego, it's hard because we attach our ego to shame, and having an ego is not necessarily a wrong thing. But the thing about ego is, if that is your God, if ego is your God, that is robbing you of your soul. And I talk about a lot of concepts that maybe seem broad, but I feel like they're all connected. Even when I talk about love and stuff, I talk about things from just like what I see and what I feel, what people say and how people act and energy. It's hard to look at something from having many perspectives. If you are looking at something from a spiritual perspective and you don't have this grounded perspective, that's unhealthy. If you're just looking at something for this way, then that's unhealthy. I feel like for quite a while, I was just constantly going through ego deaths, and I would try to integrate, and I kept going back. It doesn't matter what I build in the world. I need that spiritual connection. I need that spiritual connection with yourself. And the book, I don't know how to say this, Siddhartha. I think there's a lot of people that would recommend that book. I actually didn't finish the last few pages. I read like maybe 75-80% of the book. This is the book of the Buddha. This whole story is about the book of the Buddha. Everyone's story is different, but this is the way that I feel and the way that I see it, is that you can kind of go into, and everyone's cycles and everyone's obstacles in life will be different, but to go into a different cycle or a different phase does not mean you're regressing, does not mean you're behind, but you will repeat these cycles. And each time you repeat a cycle, each cycle is like you're circling the drain. It's like you have this filter, you have this filtration system, and it has to go through all these different stages to become pure, right? And you are purifying yourself. That's also another interesting topic I've been considering. Everything I can say is a projection. Everything I say is this, or it comes from something. Everything's a projection, but everything about ourselves that we do comes from something. Anyways, this book was basically essentially saying how there's no material thing in the world, there's nothing that you can build in the world that will make the inner richness and feeling that God, that connection, the source, whatever you want to call it, within you. There's nothing that would make you more spiritually fulfilled than love. To be on such a spiritual path, everyone on a spiritual path goes into that cycle of, we go back, and not going back, I don't believe it's going back. I think it's a period of experiencing something perhaps more transcendental. It's hard because when you come back into this, what do you call it, the matrix? I don't like to call it that. I just think it's like you go back into more a 3D. I think that's even limiting, because I don't think it's not necessarily the 3D and the 5D. I think it does operate in that dualistic nature. I've said this before, I still don't know the terminology to be able to articulate what I feel. The point is that I knew that. I had repeated enough cycles to have already known that. I had already been through financial ruin, because if the source, whatever, is trying to teach you a lesson, is trying to give you eyes to see in this lifetime, that comes with a great responsibility. The reason why you get keys and you get access to certain knowledge, inner wisdom, inner knowledge that isn't learned, because we can learn things from people and we're like, okay, I needed that guidance to know I'm not crazy, or I didn't need it, but I knew I was experiencing this. I knew I was not crazy. When you're around people that just see the world in such this 3D space and they have not had the encounter, it's not even an encounter with God. I never understood when people met Jesus and they're talking about meeting this man. I'm like, you're lying. Everyone's mystical experience can be different. It's always something about connected to you and about being seen in a way and loved in a way and experienced. It's just something, I think that it does drive someone down this path to translate and to understand that. And once you have that taste, you understand, you remove the veil. You cannot unsee what you've seen. It's not like you're constantly in this state of dissolution. And what does it mean to dissolve? I think to dissolve, it really does mean to forgo anything. Some of my most spiritual states, I was fasting, and I think it's a period of time. It's not just about that. It was during a time where I've repeated different times, I never had anything external to cling to, and it didn't matter how much money I made, it didn't matter how much money I had. It was constantly being taken away from me. That has been really stressful, to be honest. I had to go back into, I felt like my masculine energy, and every time you go back into what I thought was masculine energy before, because the world shows you this is what masculine energy is, but even masculine energy is corrupt, right? It's corrupt for anyone to go. Even masculinity in the workforce hurts men. You think about these corporate offices and these jobs, it's not that having a community and building something and working on a team, I actually love that idea, but no, you cannot function. People cannot function. We are not meant to be chimpanzees. We are not to be these monkeys. We forget that our connectedness actually with animals, we are not meant to be like these lab rats, right? We are meant to have our individual uniqueness, our individual design. We're not meant to be these lab rats under these fluorescent lights. That's another thing in my life. I feel like it's stressful. I feel you can have a lot of skills in this age. You can have a lot of skills, but to get skills, you either need to go into your masculine energy to get yourself enough time to be able to learn such skills, right? Because skills, it takes devotion to time to learning, sitting there. I don't have a hard time sitting down when I can sit down and lock into something that's flow. It's uncomfortable because there's times where your body can resist that, but it's not like the resistance. I don't have that much resistance actually when I'm sitting down, I'm in flow. I have horrible resistance when I'm trying to contain myself. That's why, no, I cannot sit down and write an outline. Perhaps I could, but the thing is, I need to flow and 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 I need to flow until it becomes clear to me. And why force the river? If something's not clear to me, then it's not clear to me, because sometimes all these sudden revelations hit me at once, and I know that this experience and this feeling, I'm not going through an ego death. I don't feel it's as profound to call it another awakening. You never stop, you never arrive. That's why I'm like, I never want to claim I arrive anywhere. Like, you never arrive, right? It's like you just get more things revealed to you. And to reveal yourself, you need to peel back yourself and face yourself. It's hard to face ourselves. I think that I'm always truthful to myself too, but sometimes you have to go through a layer. Sometimes you have to go through something in the physical, and sometimes you'll be given an opportunity that looks so good. And it's not like it's a bad opportunity, like it could be a very good opportunity, but you have to really ask yourself, you used to pray for this. Maybe you used to pray for an opportunity like this when you were in such a scarcity mindset, right? It didn't matter how hard I worked. Something would happen where someone would scam me. You know, one time I had money on me, and then cops basically, it was like, give me your money or I'm gonna like do something horrific to you. Then they'll like make you shake your hand. They'll make you put the money in the hand, and they have like guns, mind you, on them, right? Like, these police officers, surrender or die. What are you gonna do? Talk about moral rights, moral justice to the cop that is clearly in a position that's abusing the position of power? So many cops abuse their position of power. So many cops are psychopaths. So many people in the system, it's not right, to be honest. You know, and I actually like know people in the justice system that are good people, and they like actually are in it for good things. So it's obviously not everyone. We cannot write off complete systems. We cannot write off complete things. If someone doing that can be their purpose. You know, my cousin, I just remember when she was a little girl, she was a little child, how she really wanted to always be a cop. She always wanted to be in police force. It's like that. It was who she was meant to be, and she knew it from such a young age. And obviously she has to go probably into her masculine energy to work in the system. And I think that working her job, it makes you grow up very fast. The job that she's in, it's like, wow, the things that you see at such quite a young age, it is a lot, right? To do that and to be in that force. It's also because you realize how much corruption it is, and then it makes you want to fight for it even more. Okay, that was a side tangent for a reason, but I had this realization in my mind. I don't know how to explain it. I'm just realizing a lot of different things. I'm realizing how, no, we really have so much more power than we think we do. As individual creators, like, we actually have so much more power. We can create the vision that we have. What I'm trying to say is that to bring your vision into the world, it's not about the ego. I think that's why you need the ego. You need the integration, so you can be able to know your worth and know your power and to know like what you deserve, right? Because when I had certain opportunities for so long, I was just like, okay, I just need one opportunity like this. I just need to do this, so my nervous system can relax, so I don't feel unsafe, because I just constantly felt so unsafe because these things were happening. I always had the ground ripped from under my feet. All of this stuff had to happen, even though you wish people are good people, and sometimes people are good people. There are good people out there. Like, there's some woman who I've met before, older woman who around the world be like a mom in a sense to me. Kind of hard to heal my mother wound in a way, because I'm like, I don't have a home to return to. And it's a very stressful thing when like you don't have a home that you can go to, that you could go sleep at. And so it's like you're constantly running and running and running. I feel like I had such a deep scarcity wound, because when you're constantly running, you can never be. But I realized that I was never going to be granted place or opportunities and space to be until I learned that I could be with nothing and I could be with myself, and I did not need anything external. And that's happened in different ways. It's happened with even relationships. It happened with all these things that I went through. Even if some of these things I, in my core, like don't believe that's right, I think there's different reasons why I'm like, this is right, this is wrong. I think there's different reasons why I feel that way. And I often wonder, like, why does that feel that way? Oh, it's because I trust in my soul and I trust in my vision. And you know, I saw this quote that said the whole thing about matriarchy is that it's not women hating on men, it's that women want to give love and put love into their creations more than anything else. So it's not that someone else is building for power. It's not about give it all up because you don't need it. I don't need anything. I've been taken on this journey to be shown I don't need anything. And it wasn't until I surrendered and I was like, no, I'm not gonna ruin I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do this, because everything takes from you. Every single thing in this world has the ability to take from you. And I realized, what is true abundance? I've been shown true abundance. It is God frequency. God is imagination. God is the ability to be. And I've realized that I actually like systems that allow me to flow, that are efficient, that support me. I like structure. It's not that structure is wrong and that we should not have anything physical. What is physical? It's just that the physical creations, everything physical, should be a reflection of everything that you imagine and you create, because it's first you that decides. And I had to go through all these experiences to be shown that. And I was like, okay, I know this now, but I crave. And I crave not from a place of desire. And that's why I say follow your desires. I really don't need anything. I have very intense dreams where already when I wake up, I cannot talk to people. It takes so long to get into myself sometimes. That's just the way it is, because I'm just in a different dimension. And what I mean by that is that I will have a dream and it will feel very real. It will feel as real and be as visual as reality, and I'll have to ground myself into this reality. And that's not crazy, right? That is just being. That is being the birth of creation. Women are a birth of creation, and we've been taught to weaponize all the things that are really feminine. True feminine is not necessarily cooking. You know, I don't really like cooking. I actually don't. You know, I like systems that allow me to be. And even like even people I've dated, like they've been kind of like there's so much misogyny injected into everyone. What I've realized really with men too, it's like men love. Actually, you need to give them the vision. I don't believe in a lot of things about feminism. A little side tangent, but that'll make sense. I don't believe in a lot of things about feminism because I do not believe that men and women should be equal in the workforce in certain ways. I think that there are certain ways, and I don't even like this. I feel like it's limiting. I feel like our genders are limiting. There's a lot of things I've been questioning about society. There's a lot of things I've been questioning about relationships. What I'm starting to realize really is that I don't like fully have all the answers completely for this, because I feel like it's so much more expansive than feminine and the genders, and I feel like these do really particularly limit us, because it's not for men to be like, oh, you have to be masculine either. I do not believe that. I think the best men are feminine. They're in touch with their feminine. And also the best men, by the way, the best men obviously know how to cook. Like literally every guy, even in the shit I've been through, even when they're fucking manipulative and literally sluts, it's like even they know, listen, the best men know how to cook. Okay? Anyways, that was kind of off topic, but the whole thing is that I'm so traditional in some ways. I think that tradition is beautiful, and I sometimes I feel very ungrounded in the sense of my experiences in life, and I cannot dismiss my own experiences. Like just because someone can't understand that what I'm going through and how real it is, it doesn't mean it's not real. When I'm in these states, I have to honor where I am and the things that I am seeing, but it's very difficult to have these experiences because I think the world tries to weaponize these experiences, but really this is what it means to be feminine. So that's why it has been completely weaponized, and they try to paint women that are connected to the portal within them truly, and like they are one with themselves. But to be one with ourselves is to be the connection, the bridge. But you're told you're crazy. Like I've been told from a very young age I'm fucking crazy. I know very clearly I'm not crazy. You know, if I'm crazy, it's a good kind of crazy, and I used to be actually a little bit crazy, but that wasn't my fault. That's because I was put on medications that was trying to literally destroy my brain and was trying to actually destroy my brain. It's not just like you take a pill and it's like, oh, it has no effect on you. There is chemicals in these pills, right? Like there's literally things in these pills that actually warp your brain. I'll never actually shut up about this, but not all structures are wrong and not all creations are wrong. You know, one thing I like about Canada is I realized, oh my god, I'm back in Canada. I forgot because I'm always just never in my country, and I feel such a safety here, even though there's things about Canada which I don't like, and there's things about North America which I don't like, and like hopefully they don't ruin these countries, because these were supposed to be like some of the best countries, and I love Canada. Like I really do love Canada. I used to think my parents were like, what's wrong with you? Why do we live in a small town? Why do we live in the countryside? I want to live in New York. I want to go here. I want to go here. I want to go here. Now I actually think, oh my god, I actually really like Canada over America at this point. I'm so scared of America because I'm actually so scared to go. They asked me so many questions at the border. Now I'm just like, I'm not gonna go. There's too invasive. And then my dad will go. He's like blonde hair, blue eyes, and they don't even ask him. He forgot his passport and they let him in. Anyways, that's just annoying. It feels like I'm being treated like a criminal to go to a country. They're supposed to be brothers and sisters, and I always loved when I was younger, when we would take a road trip, we would literally do a road trip and we would go to Maine, and then we'd go to all the outlets in Portland, and my mom would make me go to the Coach outlets, seriously. And then we would drive home with all of our hauls and our things. And that was like the best thing about the States, and even though that is consumerism, that we can experience. So I believe that we literally incarnate. Our bodies are vessel. Our body is our vessel that we're meant to use, and all the stories and all the things that we went through, we are meant to use each part of that for the vision, for the thing that you're meant to create. I have felt that it is about creation, but the thing is, I'm also starting to realize that it's about the vision, but it's not just about the vision for you, it's about the vision for everyone. I feel like I had this vision of like, this is how the creative industry is meant to be, and this is how this is, and I'm gonna be in it, I'm gonna be this, and I want to do great things for people. I felt so seen, like recognized within who I was in the creative things that I loved as a child, and that's what I felt like was my kind of first experience. And you get so, even though your physical reality will literally be crumbling and you're trying to go on your journey into whatever you have to purify within yourself, whatever you have to figure out within yourself, because your journey will take you to wherever you need to go. Never have fear, just trust in this bigger vision. And I think that vision, you can kind of cling to it. I think it's important to get to this point. I feel like you eventually get to this point and you realize that, okay, well, it's like, I don't care. I want to create things for the world. I want to create things for myself. I want the world to be more beautiful, and that's not a vain thing. Like, I want the world in the future to be far more beautiful, and sometimes that's why I'm like, I cannot focus on this destruction. If I go watch videos and I try to keep up with the horribleness and all of this stuff in the world, like, I will be distraught. That doesn't mean that I don't care and I don't want to be not involved in that kind of stuff, but to also understand where your position is in life and where you are at your mission. Like, you can be drawn to want to help people, but you cannot help people if you are depleted and you cannot help yourself. And that's why, to understand true abundance comes from with you. And when you have true abundance within, you start to look at things like, okay, what is this taking from me? Is this taking from me? Not is it giving to me, but is it taking? Because if you already have everything, you don't necessarily need anything unless it supports your vision, right? And I think a lot of times people take opportunities, just for an example, because they're just wanting an opportunity. It's just coming from scarcity mindset. It's not in the mentality of like, okay, well, what could we create in a way that aligns, with who we are? Because that's the whole thing. Like, creation should always have, I feel like, aligned from our souls, but there are all these other areas of creation we cling to, and we cling to these other areas of creation. Sometimes we diminish our own brilliance because we think we need to fit ourselves into this box. Maybe I feel I don't know how to talk, or so I'm trying to watch someone else talk, but maybe I'm actually like taking away from the true beauty of who I am, and that's just something that I have to work through to be able to realize. So sometimes your vision is not gonna come out externally the way you see it, but that's how you get to know yourself and to know other things. And it's not just about yourself. That's the thing about the ego, is like realizing, I don't know, maybe I'm going through this other shift where I'm starting to realize, okay, we got this integrated, but all these things I've seen, like if I had peak success, I don't even give a shit. I don't. Part of me is like, okay, well, I want to prove to myself I can do it, but I also feel like I have so much things like I don't necessarily need to prove to myself because I know myself, and my relationship with myself is deepening, but I still have to nourish myself so much more deeply, and to nourish nourish my physical vessel. There's these things I want to do, but it's only I want to do these things so I can give myself more room to just be. And like some of these things are I want to go more in the sauna. That's how I have to live my life. That's how I find fulfillment in my life. You don't need as much as you think you do, and that's not lack. It's just realizing that the more you have, sometimes it's not wealth to have 5 cars in the drive. Like that's not really wealth, is it? And it's like, okay, well, you can always just make more money. You can always just make more money. Okay, but the thing is, that's a liability. I'm not someone who really likes typically designer things. It depends on the company. It's hard to box brands and box labels, and not every person that creates a company is evil. But anyways, I had this watch. It was very timeless, but I'm like, I just feel sometimes you wear something that's very expensive, you walk down the street, now you have to be aware that you're wearing something expensive. Perhaps you could get robbed, you could get physically hurt, and sometimes that's why it's also nice. Just sometimes I leave the house, I go incognito. I want to wear a hat, I don't want to look good, I don't want to wear no makeup, and I don't want anyone to recognize me. But then also I'm like, it ruins my aura with myself, it ruins my self-image. No, it doesn't. It helps me work through things to myself, and it helps me humble myself, I feel like. But I don't know, it's a weird thing. Like I just do what I need to do in that moment. If I'm exhausted, if I'm this, I need to go, then I will. Sometimes I like to walk down the street and strut and listen to a song and whatever, and that like maybe is ego, but I just feel like it gaslights myself into my body to like condition to believe that. Even if I can believe something with myself, my soul, I feel like to believe that, it's like I'm not considering myself. Sometimes I look at the camera because I'm like, it's easier to not consider yourself, and I feel like considering yourself, trying to create this image around yourself, understand the difference between using your vessel and what you're here to do versus, trying to be in control of it. And that's what I realized with like the things I want to build. I was kind of scared. I watched this video of mine I did literally like 2 videos ago or a video ago, and that's how fast I'm changing. That's how fast you change when you look at yourself, and you, especially if you create. I realized I literally was like crying or something, which I don't know if like I'm so emotional. Maybe I need to stop creating videos over my period. My cycle, I think it's been synced with the new moon. It changes based off the cycle that I'm in. If I'm going with the new moon, that means I'm trying to integrate some. You can look it up or whatever, but I don't know how much if you look up is truly corrupting that data. You have to do like proper, I don't really know who would have the exactly proper information for that, but the new moon, there's like different cycles, like the red moon, the white or whatever, and sometimes it does resonate, like the purple moon, and you can see where you're syncing up with, and it can kind of show you this is just the phase of life you're in. One time I was in sync with the full moon for like a year, and then it was the new moon. I sometimes kind of get emo. I get more raw, I feel like, more true to myself, and yeah, I just get more with myself, I guess you could say, like not this bullshit or whatever I'm doing. Sometimes I do stuff, I'm like, what the fuck? You're just running around, you're just wasting time, you're just procrastinating, you are just doing a million things. And that's why sometimes I feel like that saying is true. I feel like that's true. We focus on people, we focus on some other things, not because we need these things, but because perhaps like we are avoiding or afraid of all the success that we could create. And sometimes you can be afraid of your own success. I kind of felt like I was afraid of my own success, and then I had to release the control or release the image of it. And I feel like I've had training my entire life growing up in a family that still to this day, I don't think we'll realize being around people that are psychopaths or narcissists. And here's the thing, like I don't even like categorizing people. It is such a limited thing to categorize people. I think that you have to have both perspectives. This is maybe not the way I want to be treated, and that ego backbone isn't like worship me or die. The whole weight has to center around me. I think we have to have compassion for other people's cycles and other people's journeys. And that's why even with like my family, I'm like, I always go back. I don't go back. I kind of sometimes, if I remove the distance, it's because I'm like, okay, well, even if this person does have this psychological behavior, like even that is from trauma, but it's understanding that distance, that distance is there not because of a lack of love, because you can love people and because they are your blood, and that sometimes just is the exception. Like people are your blood, you're going to love people. And also sometimes you go on your own path and you discover your soul and you reflect yourself. Sometimes it's hard because people will not really like you because you were facing yourself and they feel shame. And I'm trying to realizing, okay, well, if they feel shame from it, it depends on your situation, but not everyone has to be facing themselves to the level that you are. Not everyone has to be at your level of evolution. Not that it's like I'm at a higher moral point of evolution. I don't want to position myself as morally superior than anyone or anything, but it's like realizing that I need that ego, I need these boundaries, I need to have to go through certain things to realize what I need as my worth. This is all connected. The scarcity, all this is because it's really realizing your worth as a being, but realizing your worth is not like extracting from people, and this is what I need to invest into this, right? And I feel like in the path I just need an opportunity, like I just need someone to see what I can do, my vision, vision or this or this or this, or to trust the creative process, to trust this. And there's a lot of people that do, right? There's a lot of people that are like, oh, I like your creative vision on this, I like this. But there's some people that just are too corporate, they don't get it, they're too an old framework thinking. I'm not saying that my vision is the best, but that's what I'm realizing about myself, is that my ultimately gift is my vision. My gift is my vision. The funny thing is, I went to get like in psychological testing, all the stuff when I was younger, and she said like my visual memory is like top. This is not me bragging or anything, it's just like what she told me, top visual memory. And this was before, my awakening, whatever. When I was younger, I had spiritual experiences. It was always my path. This was always my path, to talk about the unseen, to try to express that, right? Expression demands you to not have control. It demands you to not have control. I think that's when the best expression comes from. So if I try to have something I'm going to say, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to say. And that is me untrusting my soul so much that I don't know what I'm going to say. I feel like there's kind of this code of entry of people. I feel like when they throw themselves at people, and they throw themselves at this, maybe we should throw ourselves at ourselves. Maybe we should believe in ourselves, and you can have nothing. But it's like, I don't need that. Sometimes an opportunity, people are like, well, why won't you take the opportunity? If you need money, if you need this, and yes, I have to pay bills on time, I have to do this and I have to do this, and like, you can't just tap everything because money is real, right? But the thing is, like, I conditioned myself that every time I spend money, it'll just come back to me. And I'm very in this way, is that I don't really need a lot of things. I like being surrounded by ideas. I like being surrounded by things. I like a safe environment. Money does buy you peace. To say that's not true is just annoying, because when you are living with frats, when you don't have money, that you cannot live alone. I am getting shit done because I'm living alone. I'm getting shit done because I'm living alone. Because I don't have roommates that are threatened by my spirituality, my spiritual path, and they don't appreciate the stuff that I'm trying to get them to see, how beautiful they are and how divine they are. And I used to have this one roommate. It was weird. I just lived there for a period of time, and I just felt like things were being stripped from me. And sometimes religious girls, I'm like, why are you praying? Why are you praying? And so we would kind of bite heads about, okay, well, what is God? She would mock my way of God. I'm like, well, why are you praying? Why are you praying? To a guy, she was so bothered by the way I saw God, right? She was like, well, how do you believe? Why do you believe in yourself so much? Like, why do you believe in this? And I was trying to create, and it's just like, sometimes people can judge your vision, but it's like, who gives a shit? Because your vision is the most powerful thing. Your vision is the abundance. And I think also a lot of females, they don't realize like all these industries, the reason why a lot of these females are in certain industries, whatever industry it is, I just feel it all comes from, if it's an industry of corporate, working in corporate is typically a masculine structure. You can have this drive to want to do a career, but it's not that career or that thing is wrong, or the things that you're drawn to is wrong, or a woman is drawn to this and she's not drawn to flowy and things, that's fine, right? She can do that. But I just think that the actual structure of waking up at the same day, this suppresses women's feminine and creativity. This suppresses women, and it's like this world almost has set up this world of just doing. That's even toxic for men, just to do. But when you constantly are just trying to beat something, trying to beat a dog is not going to love you. A dog or a cat, even a cat, here's a better example, a cat will just constantly come up to you, will be constantly on you because it just wants to be close to you, because you are love. You were taking care of it, you were nourishing it, and you're just letting it be. And once you let something be and you nourish it and you give it proper water, not this tap water that is ruining people's health and putting hormones in people's brains, some food, and making the whole world retarded, that's so corrupt. Take something so pure as water and to completely corrupt it, make it dead, something alive, kill it, that's ridiculous, because they want other people to be dead. They want other people to be not alive, because if you were alive, you would realize your infinite potential does not need to rely on a system. But I just think that it's not all systems are wrong. When the world, universe, whatever, your source is trying to get you to see yourself, I think this is a real thing. I said this years ago. I have been through so many different cycles. I'm like, you're crazy. I'm not crazy. The problem is that to see something, this is what I've learned. To see something, think about a camera or a projection of a screen, a projection of a movie. This is an idea projected out and shown to the world. Our ideas are meant to be shown to the world, even though obviously a lot of technology is not just created with the genius of innovation. I always felt like certain brands growing up in North America, yes, I know, like unfortunately teenage girls are told to worship social media area. I always felt like it was this creative thing, this interesting thing. It's like, not to put your worth in it, but I always just felt like there's a reason why girls, or certain girls especially, like, are drawn to it. I feel like women do have this innate desire to be creative, because the thing is, there is biological differences between men and women. Here's something I've been thinking about. Did we portal ourselves here, or did our mother portal us here? Perhaps it was just our portals collided. Like, my mother had to tear basically her body apart. She had to tear her body apart. You know, my mom said, like, the labor with me was brutal. It was a snowstorm. My 3-year-old older sister, she almost died in the snowstorm with my grandmother because I was being born, and that would mean less attention about her. My mom always said, she's like, I created you, and she did. My mom, her body grew me, but my soul, me, that's me. My soul belongs to me. But my mom paid a hefty fee of bringing me here, and I have my mother's DNA and my dad's DNA. To do what I had to do, I think it's so intricate and it's so complex. It's like, I had to look the way I did despite everything that you went through in cycles and spiritual things. It's like, oh my God, they're still your family. And I feel like there's so much about this physical world that I feel like I find so much, oh my God, this is so much normal, because there's so much fear online. And obviously there's bad experiences I've had with people in real life who seemingly act so normal, and how broken a lot of this world is. But at the same time, there's so many things about who I am that it's not just my soul. It's like the making of who I am physically, because I'm so beyond, my soul's so beyond. I think this is what is starting to circulate. I'm starting to awakening, and some people I've heard call this like there's like a layers to awakening, and it's like almost like you go through another layer, and you think you cannot even go through another layer, but then you do detach from the self. I feel like that's what's going on. I'm detaching from the self. So my soul is not this self. Rosalind is made up of my soul. That's the essence of me, keeping closer to my soul, because my vessel is recognizing my soul and things, and realizing ways about living things I like, and you know, through things you realize, okay, that's not me, that's the world that I live in, my environment. But there's certain things that make up myself and who I am, and I can know who that is. You can show the world who you are, to translate who you are, not because it's about you, but because translating who you are would help other people feel seen, or will create something that you wish existed in different areas. And it's all about harmony. It's realizing, no, we should create things in this. But I'm also realizing that that's what keeps you poor. It's the attachment, and not just in a financial place, because that's abundance. Of true abundance is being, it's all within. Like, it is not needing anything. And I've been here before where I don't needed anything. I didn't need myself. I already went through this, but it was more of a way, I did not need it. I went through this so many different times, but then you still go back and you're like, no, you realize you have different scarcity wounds, because I felt like I was in New Zealand before I went to Bali. Also, oh my God, Bali, I feel like I don't like it anymore there, because everyone's like, oh my God, we've escaped the Matrix. Not everyone, but a lot of people are like, we have escaped the Matrix. How have you escaped the Matrix and you're building this beautiful villa or whatever? You won't see the local people. You see them as like separate, like, okay, I'm gonna come here because I can live like this. I'm still the king, like I can go live like a king here. But perhaps none of us are meant to live like that. Perhaps none of us are. But thinking about what it mean to create a new world, I think about this is a new world. We've been around, like I used to be like, oh my God, such a state, like we don't need anything, it's all about this, like all this spiritual stuff, which you can realize when you reach certain states. Anyone can realize that. It's not about that one person has special knowledge, it's that we can all do certain things, but it takes a sacrifice and it takes an unraveling. So we learn things based off our journey. Also, you will just only ever know where you are on your journey. Like no one can tell you what you're here for. I feel like it just kind of escapes the point of, well, what are you here for? What are you here to do? I feel like once you're shown something, because I don't feel like we're here to be punished. We were meant to be in this abundant state. We are infinitely born abundant. So it's not that we are being punished. God is punishing us. I do believe in karma, but I think that karma was not God. There's so many times like, God, why do I have no money? Like I work so hard. No one works as hard as me. I really do work hard. And so sometimes I have this, I don't mean to sound morally superior. It's just sometimes I feel there's times I've worked hard, I've done things honestly, and then because of dishonest people, I have been made out to seem like I was not honest or my character was manipulated. And I also was in this other video, and this is why it's hard to, you constantly have to explain yourself, and this is why the surrender to be misunderstood. And who cares? Like this is not even my avatar, it's my soul trying to speak through me. I don't want want this disconnect, but also it's not like it's my self-worth. That's what it is. It's realizing your self-worth is not connected to even this. It's not connected to what you achieve. It is completely redefining abundance. And even though I'm attracted to things, I'm attracted to taste because that's the way I grew up. I feel like I grew up with very good taste from my family. There's a lot of things about that and about the making, like it takes a village, where I don't want to also discount the sacrifices that these people making a being and making something. I am so me. My soul is me. My soul has autonomy over my body. I feel, yes, even though sometimes there's these systems I've taken away from myself, I hope that systems could improve. I hope that systems could realize this and improve. A lot of these systems, it's not that the system is wrong. I think that structure can be a beautiful thing, but again, structure, the doing that is masculine, right? That's to support the ideation, the flow, the feminine. And I'm sorry if you are a different gender and I perhaps am offending you, I guess, but the thing is, this is the way I see the world, okay? I see the world in that we're beings, and human beings should be just genuinely honest and kind and not be manipulative, because that's deceitful and that's evil. And I love when you go to certain places in the world, sometimes you have to go to not these travel article destinations, and I mean, I'm not the type of person typically to go to travel destinations. If I'm curious about a place, or a place speaks to me, I will typically go during a season. Like I will go somewhere that the whole world tells me not to go, and I'll realize, oh wow, America taught me this was such an evil place. And even though sometimes bad things happen, like for example in Mexico, yes, it kind of is sometimes scary to live in Mexico City, because like there's literally people, they're on these vehicles and they just have firearms, like huge firearms ready to go. It is scary. Sometimes there's all this fear injected about travel advisories. You know, I was in Bali. The reason I went there literally is a travel advisory not to go during COVID, when I was finding myself, the first time I went to Bali when I was a teenager, and there was like no one there. And that's why I'm talking bad about Bali now, because oh my god, in a short period of time, 5 years amount or 6 years amount of stuff that they have done to Bali, and how westernized it is, and how it does not look recognizable to me. Maybe that's because like there was literally hardly anyone there. I remember during COVID, Uluwatu, I was like the only one there. Now it's like so westernized, there's so many people, and it's like almost overwhelming. I feel like almost feels like, again, I like to be myself. I like to be where I am, following myself in the quiet, doing what I like. To conclude, I guess all of that, what I'm saying is I have been really questioning abundance. How's the ways that I'm gonna make money and align with myself? I've always made more money when I was younger. It's just because I was in a phase of my life where I was grinding. I was more naive perhaps about certain things, and I've gotten to this point of realizing that no, I don't care. I literally do not care if I have nothing. I simply am not compromising my values. You have to be very mindful of what things ask for you. Say if you aligned with this company, this brand, even doing one simple collaboration or anything, or doing one piece of production or something. Say if you were to create something for a company, not only the vision and having to get it approved, all these different people, the having to converse, all these things, having to try to explain something. Sometimes the part about executing on some things that you go through yourself, you learn something, and that's the process. And it's really difficult, I actually think, to get people to try to see your vision, to try to translate your vision. You know, sometimes it's just better to do this the way I want to do. I feel I can get opportunities in such an unconventional way. Maybe I should do a video talking about that, like non-linear career path. My path has been very non-linear, and I've always just followed my soul, and I've always been this gypsy kind of soul. Even when I had nothing, I really did not need much to survive. But I've realized that the point of creating these things and ego integration, it is not about look at me. Even if you are the face of it, it is about the entire team. And I always felt like, okay, I had to do everything on my own, like I cannot trust people, but that's not my actual, I don't want that actually. There's a lot of things where I'm like, in the future, I want to have a team, and I want to have a team, but I want to have a team of people that, one, I feel completely safe around. It's less about the person's skill, it's less transactional, it's more about how do you contribute to this vision? What do you stand for? Really, like what do you stand for? It's about building something, but not one person being at the center of it. And I think, again, like you can be face of something, and you can also start to incorporate other people. And I think that's what I'm realizing about myself and my creations, is that I really want to translate my soul, but I don't need the recognition. I don't need to be seen in a certain way. I need my vision to be able to match what I see. I want the world to be beautiful. And I don't think that's a vain thing, because I feel like that's all you can do is focus on what you can do, and you can be the change that you want to see, and you can be inclusive. But when I thought about all these other things, I thought about this. I don't actually want to build these things, because I think society has taught us that doing more and being more responsible is what we're meant to do to gain status. Even as a guy, my dad, I've watched him balance so many different people, my sister, on my family, my grandmother, like having to go and basically care for different people. My uncle used to work with my dad within the company, but then he fell down, he went through an accident, became paraplegic, going to visit him, and then running a business, and then running all these different people. I've often thought you just have everyone pulling at you. That's what it is. You have taught this is what it means. Guys are taught this is what it means even to be a man. Women are taught this is what it means to be a woman, to do. Even though I think that the more masculine structure, not necessarily men, but the more masculine thing is to do. And I think you need that structure. I've really just been really having to reprogram my mind about, okay, well, what is that masculine structure? That's not my natural way of being. I feel like my natural way of being is being in this flow, but I've had to learn. I'm learning, I guess. I don't say I've learned. I feel like I'm learning that you need less structure than you think you do, because no one has absolute security in life. Often I've actually heard some stories about people, they've achieved certain success, but then they had something happen where the next day, I watched this interview from I don't know how many years and years ago about Ralph Lauren. He was saying how, I forget exactly what he said, but he said something about how he had this like peak success or something, and in that same day something happened to him physically where, I forget the exact words, he said something about how, just implying life can show you how grand it is. Well, that's my words. Life can show you how grand it is, and then also show you the dirt. And I think that is a kind of a good example to create, but it's not from this place of attachment. So I think, yeah, I'm learning constantly non-attachment. There's still things that have been revealed to me, like maybe you're attached to. Even looking out at the street yesterday, it was thundering and lightning, and I wanted to do a video, but also like sometimes I just have to sleep, and I'm just going through a period and it feels heavier, and I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't feel as heavy as things used to. I feel like I went through so many ego deaths, and they were always heavy, and they took me out. But now I'm changing, I'm going through a mind shift or something. I feel like, okay, I just can give myself a couple days, and I can still come and sit down and like try to reflect on the lessons. But sometimes these lessons, it will just hit me randomly. It'll be in the back of my mind, and I will not actually know the exact reason about like why I went through this. But I was looking at the rain, and I don't know, my mind just went into this like beautiful being of trance and imagination. I thought, I wish I was in love. Part of my mind thought this, just hear me out for a sec. I was like, I wish I was in love, and wish I was wearing a beautiful dress or gown that I designed or something, and something that I was just out, and I was in this romance, and I was like dancing in the middle of the rain. Why am I like this? Like, why am I so theatrical? And I'm like, okay, wait, why are you envisioning this? And I realized, well, why can't you give yourself that love? It's not like another person to give yourself that love. And I think that everything had to be reflected back to me. Everything I was projecting out on these people, the reason why I project on these people, maybe I did have connection with certain people in my life. It was always me experiencing myself through these other people. We sometimes don't realize, like, we think we're in love. I think a lot of being in love is just delusion. We are experiencing what we are experiencing through how another person makes us feel, perhaps by what they say, perhaps by what they do. I think to be in love, sometimes it is to be in yourself and the other person's in themselves, and there isn't this, maybe like this judgment, so you can be in love. I think people can be in love through attachment. It's all being in love, right? It's all a little bit fucking delusional. I think it's all a little bit delusional. But that's the thing, like, I can be delusional in the sense that I can go into my imagination and I'm experiencing love the way I want to experience love. And the truth is, there's times in my life I felt in love. I was like, oh my God, I'm so in love. I was like that. I would be wine drunk, and they'd be carrying me home, and everything would be so fun, and then we laugh like idiots. I was always realizing, like, why do I want that intimacy, or why was I so deeply wanting that outside of myself? And I thought, oh my God, it's because I want to experience myself through another person. So anytime I ever experienced anything with anyone, it was me. The love I seeked was me. It was that experience through me. So what I started to realize is that other people, it kind of felt like, well, other people, it's just about what they can give us then? Is that what it is? It's just about what they can give to unlock this experience within ourselves. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but it's kind of this delusion, right? Because I feel things can be real. I think everything can be real. My family can be real, but it can also be delusion. And I don't think that we should be ashamed for any part of our journey. I have really been like, you have to go through things and you have to process things, and I think you really need to be authentic. I'm just trying to trust that wherever I'm going through on my journey, the reason why I want to do it kind of publicly is because, like, what if there's someone else that is out there and that really is going through things and they feel like they're crazy, and you know, sometimes you can just want to keep everything for yourself because it's like, oh, I'm protected, but maybe creation, it's coming from this place of love and unity that is true. And I know in my heart, my soul, whatever I have to go through, even if I'm being silly with my ego and I'm being embarrassing, to even consider being embarrassing is ego, right? If you are not good at something, who cares? Doesn't mean that you cannot be good at it, or maybe it's going to teach you a lesson. Honey, stop trying to do this shit. Like, whenever I was trying to learn how to do my makeup now I'm wearing much less of it because I was just like, I don't know how to do it. I was trying to do my nails. People look at me like, what is wrong with you? You look like a child. You know, take care of yourself. Do these things. Just because you can do something or you should do something, it doesn't mean that you should do that. Like, who gives a shit what society thinks? And sometimes everything that you're told to do, it's just you're doing these things. Is it really supporting you, or is it taking away from you? Maybe it's creating, and maybe that's, you know, what you love to do. You love to paint. You love to express through paint. And maybe someone that loves to express through paint also loves nails. So maybe she's going to make a business where she's actually doing painted on. Everyone's like, there's like these like fake nails, and like, what if they actually were really unique and you can tell how real they are, and people love to do that and they could paint on nails. Maybe that's what they're creating. That's their physical product that they're creating, and that's what they feel like they want to do in this world. And maybe it helps make another person feel happy. I don't know. But I'm also thinking, when you have yourself, no one can use anything against you. What I keep trying to say is that I made a video before. I was looking it back and I'm like, whatever, I'm just gonna post this. I could edit this out, but I obviously said that, and I obviously experienced that for a reason. So I'm just gonna have to trust my higher self right now. I'm just gonna have to trust myself. And even though my ego actually was like, I want to take this out, even though my ego was looking at it from a different perspective, even like a slightly different perspective, even looking at myself, I'm judging myself, I wanted to cut that out. But at the same time, that was a real experience that I had, and I don't care if it's embarrassing because it was a real experience I had, and I do not wish to dismiss my own experiences, and that's me having my real power. So it's about coming back. If you think all this doesn't make sense, it does. It's not this linear way I explain things, and that's fine. It's all about coming back to yourself. I think that the thing about coming back to yourself and needing other people and connections is not that you need other people from lack. It's that you are whole. This is what you're here for. You are this whole being. That's why you don't need other people. But it's like you are this whole piece, but you're just this piece in the pie. I've always loved apple pie, and I don't eat it because I'm very healthy. You know, actually, there's people in my past, like my boyfriends, they aren't all evil. And that's the thing, when you tell people things you went through, people don't understand how people genuinely love you. Maybe this is how I was manipulated. So are they psychopaths? And there's things that are so complicated about humans and interactions and people. Anyways, literally people used to make me gluten-free apple pies, but even like the gluten-free crust, they put like seed oils in that. I'm not gluten-free. I'll eat like sourdough once in a while. I don't eat really bread. I usually just eat fruit. I'm like a fruitarian. Now they're trying to take the seeds of the fruit. You know what that makes me want to do? That's making everyone wanting to go grow their own food. That's making everyone want to do that. Why are they doing that? They are doing that to corrupt our DNA, right? They're trying to kill feminine creativity, and that comes from the birth of creation. They're killing us. Mankind is killing itself. And I think that's the whole thing about the feminine, understanding that feminine is birth of creation. It's not so like women are above men. We need to step on men, even though I think that sometimes they love that if they can kill their ego. Do you know there's guys, they're teenagers, they'll try to flirt with me. I'm like, stop flirting with me because I am in my 20s. I'm like, I'm your mother. Guys will be like 18 or 17 and calling me princess, and I'm like, honey, simmer down. And sometimes when you travel other countries, there'll be guys, other countries out of North America, that literally will flirt with you, obsess with you. They just understand that you have the direction. They understand, okay, I'll listen to you. It's obviously a thing over the world, but it really is a thing more in North America. I've experienced more than other cultures, because a lot of the time, and it's obviously not the case, like there's male ego everywhere. We've all been corrupted, but that's the whole point. Like the whole point about the feminine, he just let us have the vision. We have the vision. We know how to make the world beautiful. We know how to make the world in harmony for our kids to run around. I was thinking about, oh wow, I wonder in 1,000 years, in 1,000 years if things are better, I just go into my little fairy tale and I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven creating. I'm in heaven. And this is not escape. Don't talk to me if you think, oh, I'm escaping. I am creating. I am seeing the future. It's to be in touch with yourself. They want to say that you were crazy. I think with this all the time, like, why is there such hatred? Why is there such hatred and division? But this is not the feminine. Even men have been taught to hate feminine, to look at women for this and this and this. All this problem leads back to this desire for love. Women would nurture men. Women are not inherently, I don't think, evil, even if like they're all different narcissists, and a lot of women are evil because they just are, but I think a lot of it is through our minds and our bodies being corrupted about the way of living. I'm starting to think that the way of living is women need to be in communities or something. I think in ancient days, I'm not sure because I haven't really looked much into this, but I would love to learn more about this, but I think in ancient days, it was like the woman had the vision, and yes, the men would go out and they would go do things. And I think I was, being a little man hater for a couple 2 seconds, because I was just like, I don't care anymore, trying to heal men that are all this broken and all stuff. Even though some men do appreciate, like there's sometimes, like I said, different countries or whatever, and sometimes I'll be in my sauna, I'm like, do not fucking talk to me. If you're a guy, do not try to hit me, I'm in the sauna, leave me alone. Do not, I'm trying my gym, leave me alone, stop looking at me. If a guy's at a pool, I'm just like, do not look at me, do not come up to me. Why do you guys think that's a good way? Like, I already feel so unsafe that you're allowed to be here when I'm practically naked. I feel so unsafe when I go to the beach and then there's guys there and they are with their cameras and taking pictures of you. I cannot go anywhere anymore today because of this. And even the thing with the Meta glasses, do you know how genius in one way they were to get Kylie Jenner to do that whole thing? I'm just recording my outfit, because as a female, let me tell you, that's exactly what we would use those for the most part. That's exactly what I feel like so many women would use those for and would love for that product to exist. But here's the problem. I would love for that product to exist and for that to be a reality if they didn't already compromise and sell our data, if they didn't already try to surveillance us. There's too much restriction. When you try to take the creation and pretend it's your own and not give credit, that's why a lot of times I don't even talk about people's books or theories or things anymore, because they have experienced my theories, because I wonder, is this really the man's theory, or did he take it and put it in structure and this was like what the wisdom they got from the wife? I know we can all receive information, but I do feel very wary at times when I see a spiritual guy and he's spitting information, and a lot of the guys I can see right through. I'm like, yes, you're on this path to do this and this and this, but they have the muse, and I know they will take these ideas, give credit where credit's due. I feel like a lot of the times it is more the feminine way to be more in sync with yourself, and not necessarily the moon, but like your cycle with the moon, because your cycle might be different. And to trust our intuition, to trust what's within the world, what they tell you is crazy is probably the most sane thing